So good evening, all of you. Are you able to hear me?
Ma'am, Ritika's phone is switched off.
What is switched off, beta?
Ritika's phone, ma'am.
Hey, okay. No problem, beta.
Okay.
Okay, beta. So we will start now. So we are going to discuss uterus in detail, beta. It's a very, very important essay question, the usual question. Before we start, we will see some of the external genitalia which we have already seen in perineum, not required. Labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, vaginal orifice. Okay. So the internal genital organs, what we have is uterus, fallopian tube, ovaries, isn't it? And this in the uterus, this particular area is cervix and continues as vagina. Okay. So now let us discuss uterus in detail. Okay. So coming to generally what are the features of the uterus we have. See, this is the sagittal section of pelvic cavity what we have been seeing in many classes till now, isn't it? So what is this point? Pubic symphysis, isn't it? So just behind pubic symphysis, what is the name of this organ we have?
Urinary bladder.
Yeah, behind the urinary bladder we have uterus. Yeah, and behind the uterus we have rectum, anal canal. Ritika, we are discussing uterus today.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So now see here, if you remember, this is the peritoneal reflection. So now what is the peritoneal reflection between the urinary bladder and uterus called as?
Vesico-uterine pouch.
Vesico-uterine pouch. Very good. And what is the reflection of peritoneum between the uterus and rectum?
Vesico-rectal pouch.
Recto-uterine.
Recto-vesical pouch.
What is the another name of recto-uterine pouch?
Recto-vesical.
Douglas pouch. Pouch of Douglas or Douglas pouch, isn't it? Douglas pouch it is. Okay. So now coming to see, this is the
Bluetooth mode.
So now see here, overall when you look at the uterus, it is pear shaped. So it has fundus, okay, body, cervix, isn't it? And this particular area will be vagina. So from the fundus part, actually this area is for fallopian tube. Okay, this is also one more fallopian tube. Okay, and this is ovary, and this is the ligament actually. Okay, these ligaments I will tell you once we proceed. Ovarian ligament is there, uterine ligament is there. So how is the shape overall? It is inverted pear shaped structure which is situated in lesser pelvis. Okay, lesser pelvis is also called as, what is another name given for lesser pelvis? True pelvis.
True.
Isn't it? Why is it called true pelvis? Because of this reason only. The uterus is present in the lesser pelvis or the true pelvis. What is that line of partition we had? Pelvic brim. Isn't it? Above pelvic brim we have greater pelvis or false pelvis. Below pelvic brim we have true pelvis or the lesser pelvis. Okay. Now, what is the function of uterus? Just a minute. What is the function? Can you hear me, all of you? Emalata? Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So the function of uterus is nothing but to carry the baby. As you can see the interesting picture, isn't it? So now let us see the subdivisions of uterus. So what are the subdivisions we have? So this is fundus of the uterus. This is the uterine cavity. The whole thing is body of uterus. Okay. So as you come down, this is cervix. Cervix has two openings. The one which is opening towards the cavity is internal os, and and the one which is opening towards outside is external os. External os is communicating with vagina. Okay. Now, between the fundus and body, if you observe, you are finding there is one opening through which you are finding the fallopian tube is getting communicated with the uterine cavity. Okay. So now coming to the dimensions of uterus, the total length of uterus is 7.5 centimeters. Okay. Now fundus plus body will measure 5 centimeters, cervix will measure 2.5. This is 5, and from here till here 2.5. 5 plus 2.5 will make how much? 7.5. Okay, that is total. Coming to the breadth, it is 5 centimeters, thickness is 2.5. Okay, now length of cervical canal and uterine cavity from here till here, if you just measure this length, you call how much is it? 6 centimeters. Okay, now weight is 30 to 60 grams. Now see here, there are certain interesting facts about the uterus. Okay, now yesterday's class we were doing something, and I was talking pelvic diaphragm, and I told you prolapse of uterus, isn't it? Uterine prolapse. But do you think it occurs very commonly or very rarely? This is our pelvic diaphragm, isn't it? Suppose this is the diaphragm. There are many factors which will keep the uterus in position. Okay, what are the various factors? Let us see. So first of all, is the uterus straight in line or is it bending over the urinary bladder?
Bending.
It's bending over the urinary bladder. Okay, so this bending over the urinary bladder is actually called as angle of anteflexion. This is angle of anteflexion. Okay, then this uterus is also forming an angle with the vagina. What is this blue line indicating? This is the angle actually which it is forming with the vagina, and this angle is around 90 degrees, and this bending of this uterus and its angulation with vagina is actually called as angle of anteversion. V for vagina, V for version. You can remember like that so as to avoid the confusion. This is the angle of anteversion. This is the angle of anteflexion. Bending over the urinary bladder is flexion. Making an angle with the vagina is version. Okay, and the forward bending of uterus over the urinary bladder is called as dextrorotatory. If it is just going back and lying over rectum anal canal, sometimes it will be behind, like it is an anomaly, then it is called as like different levo type of rotation. Okay, so these are different planes what we find with normal uterus. Okay, now see this is reverse. This is the normal position I told you. Okay, and sometimes it may be just in reverse direction, then it is just like pressing completely the rectum. Very dangerous, like very difficult condition this is. Now, so anteversion is between the axis of cervix and vagina. I said how much it is? 90 degrees. Okay, so it is passing through this opening. What do you call this as? External os of the cervix. Overall, all these factors, that means anteversion, anteflexion, dextrorotation, all these, what are they doing? They are maintaining the uterus in its position. Apart from that, we will also talk about ligaments of uterus, as we have studied about ligaments of urinary bladder. No, similarly here also we have many ligaments, much more important than in the urinary bladder. So we have one ligament which is supporting from behind. That's why it is called as uterosacral. I will show much better pictures. Uterosacral ligament is there. Okay, and intrinsic growth of the uterine wall is also in such a direction that it will see that uterus is accommodating well inside the pelvic cavity. Okay, retroversion means what? This is retroversion, which is written here. Basically, it should be anti-flexed and anti-verted. And suppose if it is going in backward direction, you call it as retroversion. Okay. Then, so anti-flexion angle is how much? 125. Anti-version was how much? 90 degrees. Isn't it? So that means the anti-flexion is nothing but it is bending like this. Okay, between the body and cervix over the urinary bladder. Okay. So abnormal will be retroflexion. So dextro slight deviation of to the right side. Abnormal will be towards left side. That is levorotation. Now what are the presenting parts? Better I will show you. What are the presenting parts? Fundus, body and cervix. What is written? Fundus, body and cervix you should write. Okay, now this umbrella shaped structure which is seen like upwards is the fundus, which is directed. Is it not directed towards pubic symphysis? That's why you call it as directed forwards. Okay, and when you just look at it, it is convex from all the sides. Okay, inside the fundus, actually this cavity is not extending. That means it has no uterine cavity. Inside the body, we have uterine cavity. Okay, now see, this was the fundus, okay, which is convex. Now this is the body of the uterus. Now coming to the surfaces, the surface which is bending over the urinary bladder, this is anterior surface, which is flat, directed downwards and forwards. And to which structure it is related to? Urinary bladder. And we have already named this peritoneal fold. What is the name of this peritoneal fold? Uterovesical pouch. Now, this is the posterior surface of the uterus, which is also convex, directed again upwards, backwards. And what is the name of this pouch we have seen? Rectouterine pouch. What is the other term just now we have discussed? Rectouterine
Pouch of Douglas.
Very good, pouch of Douglas. Okay, so here this is the place where we have coils of small intestines and also sigmoid mesocolon. Do you remember what is sigmoid mesocolon? The fold of peritoneum which is suspending the colon is the mesocolon. Okay, now coming to this border of the uterus, this is actually called as lateral border, which is rounded. Okay, and it is related to uterine vessels. Do you remember I told you there is a big fold of peritoneum which is covering the uterus from all the directions? We have named it as broad ligament when we were discussing peritoneum, isn't it? So whole uterus, only one side is shown, but in other pictures we will see on both the sides. Okay, now see, these are the lateral angles. We are calling these are the lateral angles of the uterus, where we have, which are also called as carnus. Okay, they give attachment to the fallopian tube. And there is one ligament here. What is the name of this ligament? Round ligament of uterus. This is the ovarian ligament and this is the round ligament of uterus. Ligament of ovary or ovarian ligament. Okay, two ligaments you are finding which are attached to the lateral angle of the uterus. 1, 2, 3 structures. Fallopian tube, ligament of the ovary and round ligament of uterus. Now see, this is the uterine cavity. Now when you just consider from outside to inside, like heart had 3 walls, no? Pericardium, myocardium, endocardium. Similarly, uterus also will have 3 walls. Outside covering is perimetrium we will have. The muscular wall is myometrium and the inside lining is endometrium. Okay, perimetrium, myometrium and endometrium. So cyclical changes during menstrual cycles will take place in the endometrium only. The glands will grow and they will rupture and they will come out. Okay, during menstrual cycle. Okay, this is all endometrium. That yellow lining is endometrium and this is the uterine cavity. Okay, now see here. This is fundus. This is body, and see this intermediate area is called as isthmus. Okay, and lower down from here till here we have cervix. Okay, so the length of cervix is 2.5 centimeters. What are the 2 openings I told you? Inside we have internal os, outside we have external os. Internal os will be this one, communicating with uterine cavity. External os is this one, communicating with
Vagina.
very good, vagina. Okay, so that is, cervix is separated from the body, and this is body and this is cervix. In between we have the isthmus. Okay, then length is 2.5 centimeters. Now coming to this, see here, this is cervix area and it is forming a fold inside the vagina. So this fold is actually called as supravaginal part. Okay, this is supravaginal part, and lower down you call it as vagina proper. Vagina, this complete is vagina. You can also call this word as fornix. supravaginal fornices. Fornices are plural. That means when the like cervix, when it is just dipping in the vagina, it is just forming a fold which is called as fornix at the supravaginal area. Okay. Now, supravaginal cervix, that means this area. This is the whole thing is vagina and this is the supravaginal part. And you can see in front this particular area. See, carefully look at the peritoneal covering. It is extending only till fundus and a part of body. But lower part of the body, cervix and vagina, are they receiving peritoneal covering? No, no. Okay, so that means the supravaginal part of the cervix is non-peritoneal and it is related. You remember this is the posterior surface of the urinary bladder or base of the urinary bladder. I told you this is the most dependent part, isn't it? Okay, and in between these, of course, we will have loose areolar tissue, which is also called as parametric tissue. Okay, these are the relations what we see in front. Now behind, this is again cervix only, not till here cervix. So you are finding, of course, peritoneum is extending. And what is this fold of peritoneum called as?
Douglas.
Pouch of Douglas, a Douglas pouch. Okay. So if you just observe in the living body, in this Douglas pouch, we will see sigmoid colon and coils of small intestine, ileum and all. Okay. Now, see this here. Now on each side of the like overall cervix and all, what are we finding? This is ureter. Okay. What is the name of this artery? Uterine artery. I told you we should not mistake the ureter for the uterine artery when we are doing certain procedures like hysterectomy, that is the removal of uterus. We should properly ligate the uterine artery only. Never damage the ureter or cut it, very dangerous. Okay. And of course, I'll show you McEnroe's ligaments. That this came then also in fact. Okay. I'll tell you when we are talking about the supports of uterus. Okay. So then we have this is this yellow in color, whatever peritoneal covering we have completely enclosing the uterus, we have is broad ligament. Okay. So these are at the cervix level, whatever gray in color the supports have been shown, lateral ligaments. These lateral ligaments only are called as McEnroe's ligaments. Okay. So here we will have lymph nodes, that means on each side. Okay. So overall this vaginal part of the cervix, it looks like conical and it is communicating with vagina through external os. Okay, so this is the external os. Okay, it is external os in newborn baby, a female baby, it looks like this. In adult, it becomes little patulous. Okay. Now, see this area, I told you vaginal fornices or fornix just now I told you this cervix is just dipping inside the vagina and it is forming certain folds like this. Okay. So this is one lateral fornix, this is one more lateral. So if you just if you see in the sagittal section, anteriorly we have urinary bladder, no? Behind you have rectum anal canal. So in this direction, this fornix will be named as anterior, based on its direction. Yeah, very good. Behind it will be named as posterior fornix. Okay. Now overall this is the cervical canal. That means here we will have internal os, here we will have external os. Between the internal os and external os you have a passage, you call it as cervical canal. Okay. Cervical canal. So this cervical canal, when you see in the living body, this it will be showing mucosal folds which will be resembling a fern tree like pattern. Okay, that's why it is called as arbor vitae uteri. Do you remember cerebellum cut section also shows some tree like pattern? Arbor vitae cerebelli word is used there. Similarly, here also you, instead of there it was cerebellum, that's why we have used the word cerebelli. Here you are using the word arbor vitae uteri. Now, after that, we will see the blood supply of the uterus. Blood supply, what is the name of this artery which is directly going and supplying the ovary? Gonadal artery. In males, it is testicular artery, and in case of females, it is ovarian artery. So, ovarian artery is showing its force in the broad ligament, and then it forms so much of branches. Not only ovarian artery, we also have uterine artery, which is one of the branches of internal iliac. Okay, and you can see it goes again inside the like broad ligament, and then it ramifies so much inside the perimetrium, myometrium, endometrium. Okay, they form so much like arcuate artery and all. We will see now. See, this is the ovarian artery. Do you remember in the kidney we had 5 segmental arteries?
Yes.
Like that, you remember? Intersegmental, arcuate. Okay.
Segmental lobar, interlobar,
Yes.
arcuate, interlocular.
Yeah, very good, very good. Just a minute, beta. This Zoom is giving some problem. Yeah. So similarly, you have branching pattern of these 2 arteries also, the uterine artery and the ovarian artery. Okay. So overall, this arch-like artery, you call it as arcuate artery, and this is radial artery. Okay, and you are finding all these round are spiral arteries. You see the components now. Outside was perimetrium. This whole thing is myometrium, isn't it? And here inside you have endometrium. Inside the endometrium, they are forming spiral arteries. Actually, these spiral arteries only will break and they will shed during menstrual cycle. Okay, so endometrium keeps on shedding and it keeps on regenerating. Okay, that is. So venous drainage, we have corresponding veins. What are those? Uterine veins and ovarian veins. Where do they go? Internal iliac. From internal iliac, common iliac. From common iliac, inferior vena cava. Okay, very good. Then we have always, you should think about nearby lymph nodes. So what are the various lymph nodes we have? From the fundus and upper part of the body, the lymph will be moving into pre-aortic and lateral aortic group of lymph nodes, and also superficial inguinal group of lymph nodes. From lower part of the body, it is moving into external iliac. From cervix, lateral part, it will move to external iliac and obturator lymph nodes. Posterolateral part, internal iliac. Posterior part of the cervix is draining into sacral. Okay. After that, we have to study about the nerve supply, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is coming from T12 to L1, parasympathetic S2 to S4. Okay. Now there are certain age changes in the uterus. In the newborn, uterus is above the pelvic inlet. You remember, because pelvic cavity is done, you know, that means it is not pelvic visceral organ, isn't it? That means cervix will be very big and the uterus size will be, the body and fundus size will be small. This we will see when we do embryology. Cervix is elongated angle between the uterus, and vagina is basically absent. Okay, this is in the newborn. Okay, at puberty you will see the fundus will be going above the pelvic inlet, body of the uterus will elongate. Okay, then you will see there is a fold is formed here and it is leading to the formation of cervical canal, and below the axis anteversion and anteflexion, isn't it? Now basically we know, like this is the uterus which is present in the pelvic cavity. That means normal uterus is not palpable from the abdomen. Okay, we cannot palpate the uterus in the normal. Per abdomen palpation is not there. Okay, see, this pelvic organ, that is uterus, is becoming abdominal organ when? From the 3rd month. Okay, only after the 3rd month of pregnancy you will see it gradually, slowly it starts entering into the abdominal cavity. Okay, like this. Now what is happening during pregnancy? There will be hypertrophy and hyperplasia of the muscle fibers which we find in myometrium. Hypertrophy means what? Increase in the size
cell
of
size.
myometrial cells. Hyperplasia means multiplication of
Number of
myometrial
cells.
number of cells. Okay, so because of which the size of uterus, see when you see in the dissection hall, when you come to dissection hall, we will show you the size of uterus is only the size of my palm, hardly. But imagine during pregnancy how big it is becoming. It is accommodating almost 2.5 to 3 kg baby, which is going almost up to xiphoid process. That means the size of the uterus will become more because of the hypertrophy and hyperplasia of the muscle fibers which we find in myometrium. Okay, so then during delivery the wall becomes very much thickened, and after parturition also it is abdominal organ. So basically after parturition you will see it will take at least 40 days for the uterus to come back to its original place. Okay, that is purpurium is basically called. Purpurium is the stage where you will see the abdominal uterus now gradually comes into the uterine cavity. Okay, after menopause usually the size of the uterus it shrinks. Okay, now let us see the supports of uterus. What are the various supports of uterus we have? This itself, overall uterus is an essay question. First of all, we should understand this picture. Okay, from anterior to posterior. What is this passage? Urinary bladder, urethra. This is cervix and this is rectum. That means this is pelvic cavity. Now, from the uterus to the pubic bone, you are finding there is one support. You call it as pubocervical ligament. What is the name of this ligament? Pubic symphysis area to the cervix part of the uterus. We call it as pubocervical. From the uterus to the sacrum bone, we have sacrum bone behind, isn't it? So you call this ligament as uterosacral ligament. Okay, from the cervix to the lateral part of the body wall, we have lateral ligaments, also called as McEnroe's ligaments. In one of our previous pictures, from that I told you lateral angle, we had this round ligament, three structures: ligament of ovary, fallopian tube, and round ligament. Again, we will see. So these are true ligaments. Okay, round ligament, McEnroe's ligaments, uterosacral, and the pubocervical. All these ligaments are true. That means they are holding the uterus in proper position so that the uterus is not coming out of the vaginal orifice. It's not getting prolapsed. All these supports will keep the uterus in position. Okay, then basically peritoneal folds will be called as false ligaments. So what are the peritoneal folds we have? Uterovesical, rectovaginal. Uterovesical, I told you, it is the fold of peritoneum between the uterus and urinary bladder. Rectovaginal is behind. Rectouterine will be little up, vaginal will be little deeper. Together you call it as pouch of Douglas. Isn't it Douglas pouch? And on either side, whole of the uterus is enclosed in the broad ligament. Okay, now let us see. First of all, we will talk about this round ligament. Do you remember inguinal canal? In case of males, we have
Arch ligament.
the vast difference, no? The spermatic cord, isn't it? The spermatic cord passes through the inguinal canal. Whereas in case of females, I told you the
Round ligament of uterus.
very good, round ligament of uterus. So the length of round ligament is 10 to 12 centimeters. Okay, which is it extends from where? Labia majora, the external genitalia. Okay, from there it is passing through the inguinal canal and then it is attached to the lateral angle of the uterus. So that means both the sides we will have this round ligament which keeps the position of uterus. Okay, then direction it is passing. Actually, if you start from here forwards, laterally through the broad ligament, it is crossing the lateral wall. It is passing through the deep inguinal ring, then inguinal canal, comes out through the superficial inguinal ring, then enters into the perineal region, that is the labia majora. You are seeing its direction like this from the lateral wall. Okay, that is round ligament. Then what are these? At the cervix level, I told you we have two ligaments. from either side. Okay, those are McElrod's ligaments. So McElrod's ligaments are like fan shaped. They keep cervix in position. So they are, where are they seen? This is cervix and this is vagina. So junction of cervico-vaginal part of fascia, which is covering the levator ani. So this is, if you just see above, it is related to ureter and uterine artery. And here we have broad ligament. Okay, but so I'll resend the link better because it's going away. Okay.
Okay.